It's now time to get going with some more ABAP. And we're going to focus on working with other data types that we haven't yet come across. So far, we've looked at using numeric fields for performing calculations, and we have taken a look at character strings and the different type of character manipulation that we can do with the various inbuilt character string ABAP statements. But now let's move on and take a look at date and time fields. So before we start, let's go into the ABAP editor and get ourselves a brand new program to start with. So we will execute transaction SE38. That's the previous program that we used when looking at character strings. So let's copy this. And we'll call this Z other data types. Now it's been copied, we'll click the change button. I'll just update the comments. And let's get rid of lots of this code. Date and time fields are not defined as numeric data types, but are instead defined as character data types. They are really just character strings that can be used in calculations. And this is made possible by the inbuilt automatic data type conversions that we have already discussed in a previous module. And just like any other data type, we use the data statement to declare these date and time fields. So if we focus first on the date field, we will use a data type of D, which is always defined as 8 characters, with the first 4 characters representing the year, the next 2 the month, and the next 2 the day. So we would write it, we give it a name, my date, type D. That's it, pretty simple. One thing to note, when we don't define an initial value, the system automatically assigns zeros to the field. When you do want to assign an initial value, just like any other field, we use the value addition. So 2012 0101. And don't forget, like any other field, we are not just limited to using the type statement. If we already know a field defined as a date type and we want to reference that field, we can use the like statement. So what's this one? SYDatum? Well, this is a system variable that always holds the value of the system's date. So the myDate2 field, we're defining it the same as the SYDatum field. Now let's move on to time fields. As you know, I don't like excessive typing. So time fields are very similar to date fields, but instead of being 8 characters long, they are 6 characters. And they have the format of hour, minute, second. And just as with the date field, the initial value is always zeros. To define the time type, Instead of D, we use T. So we can say 11 hours, 10 minutes, 5 seconds as the value. And the same when we want to reference an existing field. We will use the system time field, which is sy-uzeit. So let's now output some of these date and time type fields to the screen so we can see the output format. So we'll just make a comment. And then we'll use the write statement with the chain command. So we'll output the first date, then on a brand new line, day number 2, then my time on a brand new line, and my time 2. And then we'll finish it with an underline statement. There we go. Run a quick check. Oops, a little problem. Let's go fix that. Oh, silly me. And the U line is a command all on its own. There we go. That's better. We'll activate and then test. So the output is showing us 4 fields. The first one contained the value of the date that we keyed in the data declaration part. And we can see it's the 1st of January 2012. But remember how we keyed it in a reverse order? We did 2012-0101. Well, the write statement applies its own formatting. And as we discussed in one of the previous modules, you can format the output as you like with the write statement. The second field is a date field as well, but we didn't define any value to that date field. So the system has output the initial value, and it's used the automatic formatting by inserting periods between the day, month and year. And it's using the formatting that's associated with our user logon. The third and fourth, very similar again. We can see they are both time fields. The first one has a value and the second one doesn't. So now let's move on and see how we can use the date and time fields in calculations.